hold up. It's that boy G-Planz. Don't give a damn. He cooler than a fan. Walking real tall, some say he's a man.
Man, what's going on, Jock, man?
What's up?
I want to say that I appreciate you for making this happen for us.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? A lot of stuff to talk about, man. You know, we came from the same place. Good guy. You know, we're doing a lot of things, but I wanna get into this, man. I wanna get straight to it because everybody been talking about it. You had the whole city shook for like a whole day. You know what I'm saying? But before I say that, first, man, how's everything been going with you, man?
Man, God's been blessing and pushing me through. I mean, this last season, it's been really just about self-growth, you know, and I didn't want to allow anything to hold me back anymore. So I realized that the biggest thing that was holding me back was just the fact that I had lost my confidence. You know, everybody else saw confidence, but it was stolen from me at that specific time period in my life. And so at that time, I was just operating off of a pseudo-confidence, if that makes sense. Like, I knew what I was supposed to be, but deep down, like, you know, people would always say, man, like, I see you like this. You could be doing this. You could be doing that. And all I could hear is, you know, you ain't nothing. You worthless. You know, you ain't gonna amount to nothing. You know, that type of stuff. The same stuff he used to say. So then my mission, you know, lately has just been, the past few years, has been to push inside of people what was pushed out of me. So if I could give them that confidence, then I felt like I had confidence, you know, and so that's how the whole preaching stuff started. It was just like, let me give them life that I felt like I didn't have, and so I lived through them.
So I want to say this, man. All right, first, before we really get into the story, all right, we all know, we all saw what happened to Bill Cosby, we all saw.
Yeah.
All right. My initial response to that was like, man, that's messed up. I don't condone what he did, that was wrong, but I was like, man, you know, why wait 30 years to say this and say that? You know, why are you knowingly going to a married man's room? Like, why are you putting yourself in a situation like that, regardless of what he done? So, you know, you came up with the status and you was like, man, you know, it take time. You know, don't blame these women for coming out during this time. You know what I'm saying? And it first started, it was like, you know, Patrick Haywood abused me from 4 to 10. That first line, before I even read the status, I was like, wow. After I got through reading it, when I messaged you, it was like, you changed my whole perspective, because that's how I looked at it at first. But I want to get into that, man. Like, take us back 4 years old, and you getting into, well, not you getting into this, your life changing. You like, man, why is this guy doing this, or what's going on? Like,
so from 2004 to 2010, my stepdaddy pretty much just came into my mom's life under the pretense of being a preacher. And so I think that kind of leads you into a plug to just kind of say that as African Americans, we've always been inspired by people who can touch our heart and our spirit. And so we're walking in a culture and we're living in a time where you can even see our African American women are so obsessed with hearing someone tell them who they are. You know, so you hear the Derrick Jacksons of the world, or some of the other ones that just they're encouraging, and I appreciate that. But it goes from a place of us not really knowing who we are. You was to walk up to most African Americans and ask them, who are you? They could tell you what they wear. They could tell you what they drive. They could tell you where they work, but they can't really tell you who they are. So when he came in, he was just this inspirational guy, and you know, my grandmother had just passed away, and my mom was dating him, and it seemed good, and then it just went bad, you know. And so, like, the first time I realized he had an issue was that my mom came home late, and he was staying with us at the time because he lived in another city. He was staying in Natchitoches with us, and he just pushed into the wall and was just like, where my food is? You know, when I come home, I need to have food on the table, you know. And I was like, man, this is my grandma's house. I was like, this ain't your house. My grandma left us this house after she just passed away. I'm like, you ain't even supposed to be here. So I'm talking already like, you know, that's not what you're supposed to do. So he pushed my mom into the wall, and he was getting ready to walk past me, and I stood right in the middle of the door. And I was like, you don't put your hands on my mama, you know, and move. I'm not moving. Either, you know, whatever you feel like you need to do, you know, you need to do it. And so that was the time when it went from pushing to the wall to, you know, he would lock us in the house. And I mean, you ask yourself, what did you do to deserve this? You know what I'm saying? You sitting there, you trying to be so positive for the other people. You're trying to be positive for yourself. And then it became trying to be just positive for my mom, you know? So it started right after her mom passed away, who I saw pass away, by the way. You know, she died in front of me. You would think a man wouldn't ask a woman to get married as soon as her mother just passed away, but he was like, we gotta get married now, we gotta do this, we gotta do that. He found my mom in a real low place, and that's, yeah, she was vulnerable, and that's how everything started.
So in the first line was like, he beat me, he punched me, he bit me.
Yeah.
Like, during that time, you know, you what, 13?
13, 14,
you
yeah.
know what I'm saying? Like, I'm 28 now, you 26, 27.
Yeah.
I'm like, you're ahead.
Yeah.
But that was so traumatic. And see, like, the thing what caught my attention, I'm like, man, Jock,
yeah.
you know, prom king, everybody loved Jock, smart guy, can't say nothing bad about him.
Yeah.
And for you to go through something like that during that time, for me being at that age, like, I couldn't imagine, you know what I'm saying? But when did he start, like, all right, I'm about to physically start fighting you?
The first time he swung on me, I was probably 15, and we were still in Breedertown. And I had went down the street to go check on Reverend Edwards. He lived like right down the street from us. And Reverend Edwards started talking to me. He was just like talking about my grandma, how they used to be friends and stuff. And when I came home, I guess I came home late. The street lights were still on. I mean, street lights wasn't on yet. I walked in the house, and he just swung. And okay, I guess we fighting now, you know? And anything could trigger him. You don't disrespect my house like this. Like, you let me know where you going and what you doing. And I was like, man, I was literally at a preacher house. Like, I was right down the street at a preacher house. Like, what more are you supposed to, you know, what am I supposed to be doing? And it turned from that, man, to he just became almost just combative. Anything I did, anything I said. And so I realized at that point, that I gotta protect my mama. Cause if you go push me, fight me, one time he choked me out at the church.
Yeah, when I saw that messed me up.
You know, that's a mosquito. We out here in Texas still. Yeah. He was upset because I was sitting outside talking to the kids. We was just being kids. You know what I'm saying? And he came out there, literally 6'4", grabbed me around my neck and picked me up.
In front of everybody.
Everybody was outside, picked me up and was choking. And so I'm swinging, trying to get him to drop me. We in Breedertown at, you know, at that church, not the FAC. I don't want to say the name of the church just in case, but you know, we was at that church.
Oh, Dixie?
Yeah. And he literally, man, like, I start losing consciousness. Like, and I'm waiting for somebody to sit there and do something. And, you know, people came out and pushed them off of me and stuff. And that's when I realized, like, if you willing to do this in public, it ain't no telling what you would do to me when it's just me by myself. So that's when I started locking myself in my room when we would go home. If my mama wasn't there, then the safest place to be was the room or the bathroom, because I knew, okay, if you come into the bathroom, I had stuff hid, you know, like, okay, I have my bat in my room. In the bathroom, I had like that, you remember where we from? We had them old school slave irons, them cast iron black ones. Yeah. And we used to use them as dough, you know, holding the dough open, you feel me? I had that in there, and I was like, okay, well, if he come in, well, as long as I get one good swing, you know, I should be able to get him down, because I knew if I could get him down to my level, I'm 120 pounds at that time. He like 260, 270. So my little taps wasn't really doing much, but it would keep him at bay. You know what I mean? And it just became about survival, bro, because my mama was my most prized possession at that time, literally. And I say possession in the sense of I loved her so much that I was willing to put myself in harm's way in order to make sure that she was actually okay, you know? And she never knew. So while all this is happening, my mama never knew what was going on.
Like how, you didn't tell her?
No. I've never been one to talk about my struggles. You know, I've always believed that I had to protect certain people. You know, if I realized that she couldn't handle it at that time, which she couldn't, I had to protect my mama. So he would only do stuff when she was gone. You know what I'm saying? So when she home, she just knew I didn't talk to him. You know?
And you going through this at home. And then we seen you at school, like everything good. What's up, y'all? Walking through the hallway, you going here, not knowing that this is going on. Wow, man. I want to go into this too. You mentioned that he threw you through a wall and you got a concussion.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah.
When did that happen?
I went to Louisiana Tech for school. I came back and I think I was probably 18. Still maybe weighing like 150. And when I came home, what's up, bro? What's this? When I came home, he walks in and he's like, what are you doing here? And I was like, well, we on break right now. You know, we on break. And so when he asked me, you know, what I was doing, I'm like, man, like, you know, this is my house too. Like, you know, my mama stay here, this is my house. He was like, nah, this is my house. I'm like, man, I was like, whatever. That's all I said was whatever. I turned around and he said, don't you ever turn your back to me. And I hear him running. He used to be an all-state fullback. I hear him running. Ta, 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 ta. And when he ran, he literally grabbed me while running and just threw me head first. And I went through the wall and I hit my head on the tub. That's how I went through the wall. I didn't like hit the wall. I went through it and hit my head on the tub. I came out and I'm swinging. And my mom was in her room. This is the first time she ever seen us fight. Ain't the first time we fought. It's the first time she ever seen us fight. I'm in the room trying not to cry. She comes out. She's like, man, what are you doing to my son? At this time, he was on top of me, just hit me, man. And I was like, mama, go back to your room. Go back to your room. Like, go, leave. And he pushed my mama. And all I remember asking, like, Lord, just give me some type of strength. Because, you know, I was full tailback. I could take a hit. But, you know, I ain't had that push. And he was laying on top of me, just pow, 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 pow. And I finally was able just to push him out. And I'm like, mama, go to your room. And we boxing at this time. So I'm trying to push my mama back while swinging at this dude. And that's when he go and he get the knife. He like, I kill both of y'all. So I'm like, mama, you gotta go. I could die. I'm cool with it. But I wouldn't be cool with letting my mama die. You know what I'm saying? So, it became about survival. So when he told me to get out, he was like, get out. I want the keys. You can't come back here. Okay, I can't come back here. I bet. So I packed up my stuff. I called my partner. And that's how I ended up in Cali. You feel me?
Oh,
so everybody always will wonder what was happening, and I always took it upon myself to believe that my job was to make sure that people saw God. You know? So when I'm walking through the hallways and I'm high-fiving, I'm dapping people up, nah, they gotta see God, because if they believe that the dude that say God is so good and so real, if they knew what I was going through, they might lose their faith. And I ain't want nobody to lose their faith. I wanted people to always trust in the fact that God would take care of them. And so you just find yourself fighting that battle, man. You know what I'm saying?
Man, I couldn't imagine. And then, you know, for you to say, you know, how he say you worthless.
Yeah.
Your grades good in school. Everybody loves you in the community. Like I say, you prom king.
Yeah.
You in college. How did that feel for you to have all this success on this side, and then you go home and then your father figure say you worthless? Like,
yeah. That night that I won all them awards at graduation, he took them awards and threw them up against the wall, and I got to the house and said they didn't mean nothing. Wow. This the same man that my mama got her second master's degree. He said, you still ain't shit. You know what I'm saying? And my mom was battling with that mental battle, because here you are, a strong black woman, 2 bachelors, 3 masters now, technically 4 because she working on a special ed and something technology, and then she only 3 courses away from her doctorate degree. And he had her believing she was worthless, you know, fighting an internal battle. And you realize at this time that this man really had no self-value himself. He didn't know who he was himself. So although he put me through so much pain, and it caused you to cry and it caused you to do all that stuff, he birthed, and I'm not afraid to say it, he birthed the ministry in me. Because my heart for young black boys has been so open, and my heart for our community has been so open. I don't want anyone to ever have to feel like they don't have anyone to say, hey, I'm going through this. You know what I'm saying? Because you never know what people are struggling with, you know, ever. So the whole purpose of what he thought was pushing me down and shutting me down and was only literally pushing and compressing me into making me become somebody better, you know. Now, will I say that he was the best man in the world? No, he wasn't. Did he have some good stuff? Somewhere, I'm sure, you know. But at the end of the day, a lot of him was just abusive, man. You know, and he would sit there and tell you all the time, I'll kill you. You know, I'll kill you and your mama right now. And
when I saw that, and I actually went on Facebook to find a dude like Space Thing. I didn't know who he was. I'm like, this the guy? And then, like, you know, growing up in the hood, whatever, you know, everybody, cable bill been in his name, loan. But you was like, you know, he got a loan in my name and messed my credit up. Like,
he took a loan out in my name, and because it was time for me to go back to school. So that was really what the throw through the wall was that, dude, my counselor just told me I don't have no money. You told me that you was gonna get this loan for me, bro. Like, I'm on a 50% scholarship. I just walked on to the track team, so that's 25%. I'm hustling. I'm working 60, 70 hours a week at Airmark trying to make up money for my classes. And my counselor actually liked the post and messaged me, like, so that's why you used to cry in my office. Cause I'm like, she say, Jay, your grades slipping. I get that, but if I don't go to work, I can't pay to even have grades, cause he not helping me get through college. So then I'm like, dude, where my money at, bro? No money. I ain't know nothing about no credit score. I ain't know nothing about no loans and stuff being in my name. You look up and I go to try to get a car. Man, your credit 3 something. 3 what? Like, yeah, you got a loan out here for this amount of... I didn't do that. It's in your name. It's in your social security number. So at this time, I go to my mama, like, mama, he messed up my credit. She like, well, let me check mine. He had took out 3 credit cards in my mama's name that she didn't even know about.
Wow.
Maxed them out. Like, ruined my mama credit.
How much money you can...
On me was 10 racks for sure, because it was going to cover me for that year, because, you know, tech private is cheap.
Yeah.
On my mama, probably around 20, 25,000 in credit card debt.
So we're going to say...
35,000, 40,000, yeah.
Wow. What he done with the money? He just...
Nobody knows what he did with the money, because he literally controlled our bank account. When my grandma passed away, she left us about 150, 200,000. Bro, that money was gone before I even got to high school, and she died 1 year before I went to high school. Like, I don't know where that money went. My mama don't know where that money went. Like, he wouldn't let her look at the bank accounts. He took all her name off, and, you know, because at the time you in church, he's the head of the house, you know, let him be the man and all this stuff. And again, you found a woman being vulnerable. That's what it ended up being.
So you said over 200,000 that your mom, that y'all inherit, y'all heirs to the property, whatever. I said a year, 2 years later, it's just gone.
Yeah.
Your mom ain't never confirmed and say, wow.
The thing was, she never looked at the bank accounts to know that they was gone, because he wouldn't let her look at the bank accounts. You see what I'm saying? The way he controlled everything was that only he had access to stuff. So if you wanted money, you had to go through him. If you wanted, you know, I remember one time we was getting ready for a dance. You know, we wore Jabos still. I was like, man, look, I just want a fresh pair of black Jabos with the strap on there. You feel me? With the strap on there. And nah, you ain't my son. You don't have nothing to do with me. You extra. When he married my mama, he told me that. You extra. I wanted your mama. You just came with it. Now, I never told my mama that, because, again, my mama happy now. She married. She just lost her mama. She happy. How dare I take away my mama happiness? You know what I'm saying? How dare I tell her that this going on? Like, I'm just going to handle this like a G. You know what I'm saying? If I got to fight, I got to fight. If I gotta swing, I got to swing. You know what I mean? But at school, the purpose was just to make sure that I was being a blessing to other people. Because I always remember that he said, literally, Matthew 6:33, but seek ye first the kingdom of God, and all these things should be added unto you. And I just said, okay, God, if I seek you, then I know one day it's gonna be added. You see what I'm saying? And then when the reason why I was able to stay so cheerful, I remember reading the scripture about Hagar when she got cast out by Abraham and Sarah, and Abraham said, get away pretty much. Now Sarah told her, you can go into my handmaid and I'm barren, you can have a child with her. But then Sarah ended up getting jealous. So she sends out Hagar with Ishmael, which Ishmael literally means issue. And when he was sitting there, and she went into the wilderness, they gave him like a little cake or some water. She set that down in the bush, she set the baby down, Ishmael, and she went to go pray. The angel said, for I've heard the prayer of the lad, but the mama was praying. The baby couldn't even form a sentence at this time, but the mama was praying and it said, I heard the prayer of the lad. My whole hope during school was that, God, if I just pray for these people, that you will hear my prayers though I'm them. So Father God, don't let them go through this. The people that will come to me with the suicidal thoughts and issues, Father, I speak now in the name, and I would just speak life into them because that's all I knew to do. I knew that they say they couldn't pray. They felt like they didn't have a connection with God. So if that's what you feel, and I know God will hear me and I've seen him work in my life, although at this time I'm going through a Job situation, I still got to have my faith that he'll do it for you. And that's what I was doing. That's what kept me uplifted. Simple.
Going through all this stuff, like you didn't meet with a counselor, you didn't seek therapy from no one, or nothing, just something you just had built up inside of you all these years.
Yeah, I sought counseling when I got older, and just started talking with a lady, and she was just like, you have to deal with these issues. You have to deal with, what he did, and you have to talk about him. Because what we don't realize sometimes, especially in our community as black men, we're taught to hold stuff in. We're taught that it's not okay to express ourselves. We taught from an early age, Don't do that. When a little boy fall on the ground, what you do? Boy, get up. Suck that up, boy. You better not cry. Shut up. Now let a little girl fall. It's okay, baby. Come here. I got you. You cry. It's okay. It's all right. Ain't nothing wrong with a black man crying or opening up or sharing his experience with people. But we've been trained not to. So then how can you wonder why our community is separated and split up when we've been trained this whole time to only rely on ourselves and deal with it ourselves? Yeah. So then what do? We make fun of people that's dealing with depression and anxiety. Oh, y'all crazy. Boy, you got to go to the crazy doctor. You go get a check. No, they dealing with some stuff. You see what I'm saying? They need help, just like anybody else. Yeah. So what? They might be bipolar. They got a chemical imbalance. That don't mean it's something that's just so wrong with them that they should be thrown away, But we've been taught not to love ourselves, not to cherish our emotions. And as black men, we got to start talking now. And the funny thing is, the more we talk, the more we realize, this black man went through something similar to me, and he can help me out. You know what I'm saying? So it went from being a tearful situation, G, to being something I look back at now, and it's like, if I wouldn't have went through all of that, how can I reach my people? You know what I'm saying? How can I reach God's people? You know what I'm saying?
And it's crazy. Like I was telling my girl earlier, like John, we ain't had a best relationship when I seen him all the time. How you doing? I'm into music heavy. You always say, check this artist out, check this artist out. Boom. Like when you put that on Facebook, like I said, I sat there, I read it. I'm like, I just couldn't believe it. And to see the type of man that you are today, especially the city where we come from, the environment itself. You know what I'm saying? It's not too many people doing well. If you are, lucky. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? But now moving forward, like how, God is everything. But how does it feel? Keep moving? Like that's hard.
The thing is, it's many dark days. It's been many dark days. It's been some days where, to be honest, I didn't want to live. It was, to be all the way true, one of my best friends, Bishop David Jackson, out of Atlanta, he called me back in 2013 and said, God said, put them pills down. I was about to commit suicide. I was done. Wow. I didn't want to live no more. When I left Cali and had went through the stuff in Cali, which that's a whole nother topic. I moved to Texas with 3 suitcases and about $1,500, no, that's a lot, about $1,000 in my wallet. Had nowhere to stay. The apartment that I had set up wasn't even ready. And I remember being homeless, sleeping literally at the train station. Wow. And I looked up And at that time, I had just left preaching. You know, like I had just left Cali, got myself together, I thought, and I'm preaching with some quote unquote people, whatever, blah, 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 blah. God, how did I get here? Here we go again. Like I just made it out. You know what I'm saying? I just made it out. I thought I was good. Now I'm eating ham and ketchup sandwiches. I can't afford nothing. I'm walking 7 miles to work.
Wow.
I finally catch a break. I save up enough money to get a bike. So now I'm biking 7 miles to work, 7 miles back. You know, sleeping on the floor in my house. So I was sleeping on my suitcases with my clothes piled on top of it, and my pillow was a milk crate. Wow. Because at that time, my mama was still with him. And so when she had divorced him at that time, she didn't have enough money to help me. My grandpa had just filed bankruptcy. And my uncle that was known for having money, who was older, he was going through some issues on his end. One of his investments had flopped. So everybody that I knew that had money didn't have money no more. And so here I am in Texas, taking me, what, 2.5 hours, 3 hours to walk to work, 2.5, 3 hours to walk back. So if I had to be to work at 8, I would set my alarm for about 4:30, 4:15, and I just walk. Just to get there on time. And I didn't want nobody to really see me walking because I lived in Fort Worth. So I'm just walking, you know. And slowly but surely, God showed up. And the biggest thing, G, is that I never wanted people to know my struggle because I never wanted people to lose faith in God. So it's become now with the people in this room, you know, when we start talking with them a little bit, that's when I just start opening my mouth. We got to protect our community. You know, we got to fight. It's black men out here that's successful. It's black men that got kids and they love them. T love his kids. He love his girl. You know what I'm saying? He work hard. All of us ain't bad. You know? All of us ain't victims. All of us ain't hoodlums. Just because I got tats on me, I'm a thug. I just like tattoos. Like, so what?
And I say it all the time. This my conspiracy on it is like whoever controls the media go give it this depiction of black people they this way, but no, that's not true. There's a lot of successful black people out here who working and doing it the right way.
Yeah.
And they just not showing it enough. I try to make it my duty. I show everything. You know, I try like I'm doing this, doing that, try to help people, but you know, hey, it's up to us to change. You know what I'm saying? So like, do you have like any advice for anybody who may be going through something remotely close to what you have experienced in your life?
The biggest thing is that when you're in that time period in your life, can't nobody tell you how to act. Can't nobody tell you how to be. You just living. But if you in this situation right now and you know that this is hitting you hard, my phone is open. Search me on Facebook. JD Redmond is open. You know, it got plenty of hotlines. October is actually Domestic Violence Month. You know, it's plenty of people that are willing to sit down and help you. There are safe homes. If you can't search for it at home because they looking at your web browser like my stepdaddy used to do, wait till you get to work. You know, wait till you grab your phone. You know, search on incognito. It sounds crazy to people that ain't been through it, but trust me, I know like my stepdaddy used to do. He would watch everything that we did. He would watch all the stuff that we looked at just to make sure that we wasn't trying to quote unquote leave him. To find that courage, it take a process and it take time. And I just ask that, you know, if you sitting there trying to fight for your mama, understand that it's only so much you can do and that some people will kill you. You know, I almost died 4 times with that man. And you gotta find the strength within yourself to push through. Because if you don't, you will end up dying. And you gotta protect yourself. You know what I'm saying? Protect yourself. Find someone that you can talk to. That can push you out. Because I won't say my way was the best way. I can't tell y'all that because I should have reached out to somebody. I should have said something to somebody. All of my family members now, man, if you would have told me, bro, if you would have told me, all my friends, if we would have known, bro, we would have rolled on it, we would have did this. I don't condone violence. I don't condone the killing of nobody. But seek help. You know what I'm saying? Even if it's just a teacher, tell somebody. Because if you don't, I can't say that everybody in my situation has lived to tell the story that I'm telling right now. Because he went to the next wife and beat her until she dang near died, and then she ended up, her cancer came back and she passed from quote unquote cancer. Wow. But this man was find somebody to find help with.
I want to say like they say that you don't supposed to question God. And if I was to experience something like that, knowing myself, I'd probably be in Angola right now. You know what I'm saying? But and then how do you forgive? How do you attempt to have a step forward to try to forgive somebody like that? Like
So with him and for myself, it pretty much became, okay, God, it's a Job situation. Because we forget that he literally said, I have someone. When Satan was looking for someone to test, God literally said, I have someone. Try my servant Job. You know, as rough as that situation was, literally, like I say, I watched my grandma die right before I went through this situation. Then from this situation, I went to Cali, and that situation was messed up. And then I ended up being homeless, and all these things that just kept happening and kept going on and kept going on. The biggest thing that I realized was that, why not me? I'm not going to waver. I know who you are. I know God for myself. I know you have more promise for me. And then that perspective changed from, I know what you have for me, to I can now reach your people better because I have been through these experiences. Now I've been beat, I've been battered, I've been broke, I've been homeless, I've been on the streets living and not knowing where my next meal was going to come from. So now when I go sit and I talk to somebody that's homeless and I say, I know a God that can pull you out, I'm not talking theoretics, I'm talking what I live. You feel me? When I tell that woman, hey, you can leave that man and he can be safe and he don't have to hit on you and your kids, I ain't telling you something I got off of TV, that's what I live. You feel me? When I say God can increase your net worth, I went from making $975 6 years ago at Apple to now making 6 figures. All of that happened because you don't waver when He tests you. Because you have no idea what those tests are meant for. So now when these people watching this video, it's shocking to hear. It's something to talk about. I get it. But hear the underlying message. He'll never leave you nor forsake you. I was never forsaken, I was tested. That's the difference. And when you look at it, at that adjective differently, you realize you come out with a different understanding of who God is, right? So it's been tough. There have been days where I'm like, you know what, God, forget it. Let's keep it funky. It's been days I done sat there and said, this ain't for me. You know, I'm going back to the hood. I'm a hood baby anyway. Like, what you mean? I'm about to go back to the hood. And I couldn't. Because my responsibility is to speak for His people. You know, regardless of who His people are and regardless of where they at in their life, that's a responsibility He's put on me. Everybody in this room got a responsibility to do something for God. It might not be to speak like I'm speaking. It might be to do what the owner of this barbershop did, JB, to own a barbershop and have a place to where there could be a platform given. You see what I'm saying? Because when I called JB and we started talking about this, JB got quiet. Me and JB ain't never talked about what God's doing in his life and stuff. But this matched up in such one of a chord that it couldn't have been nothing but God. And all of that started because you was operating in your gift. So you operating your gift, and you seek me out to operate in my gift. Now I go to somebody else to operate in his gift. And now when black men come together, instead of us being separated, we produce this. You see what I'm saying? You would never know, ever know. You would stand me and JB by each other. People be like, oh, they don't hang out. I might be in a 3-piece suit when I come get my hair cut sometimes. Both of them around. I'm known in my hood. I'm good with the hood. Where I stay at, I can dap up anybody. I can go anywhere. I'm cool with the hood. Just because I got corporate America sense, that don't mean I'm still good with the hood. Because of our responsibility now in this generation specifically, take what God had pushed us out to, now take it back to our people. The generation before us was so upset with the hood that they left and didn't come back. It's our time to go back. You see what I'm saying? And when we come back and we take all these people in here and go back to where we come from, they can't gentrify an area when we obtain in that territory. If I'm living in that territory and you telling me I'm going to give you $300,000 for your house and I know that you go just build a Walgreens there, well, if we go gentrify, pay me some real bread.
Cause I negotiate them type of contracts on the daily. It ain't no $300,000. This lot down the street from my office just went for $40 million. And they know they gonna make it back over about a year or two. But if we go back into our neighborhoods and we take all of these black voices that's in this room right now, we gotta realize everybody operate. You feel me? So even when it come to one day, we was out in the back talking. Me and Ronnie was talking about it. Ronnie got his gift. Yeah, Ronnie got his gift. I got my gift. Ronnie was dressed how he was dressed. I was dressed how I was dressed. Ronnie was being artistic with his stuff. I wanted to dress like a boat dude that day. So I had on my dang boat polo and my boat shorts and my boat shoes. But that's still my round. You see what I'm saying? We still can connect. JB, I can still connect with him. Everybody here right now, all got a hood that we come back from. Now it's our time to rebuild Black Wall Street. It's our time to get our communities back together and make a comeback. We need to start buying land. We need to start getting together for these conglomerates and making sure that our people are taken care of. Because if we don't take care of ourselves and we keep being disorganized, who gonna take care of us? We keep looking.
I want to say this too. You got I talk about that all the time. All right, especially from a religious base. All right. Right now, when you go to church, you know they go read the scripture. They go reiterate whatever the case may be, this scripture, whatever. You know, they don't really talk about all right, congregation. Like on I say like a Bible study night or whatever. All right, congregation. We need to do this. We need to do this. We need to stop depending on these people to help us. We got, all right, this church gonna make 10,000 this Sunday, easy. You know, why not, hey, all right, we need to have fun and we can invest it this way, invest it that way. Like, honestly, like, I wonder why the preachers don't take the stand and say, hey, we need to do this and get this in order. Like, you being a preacher or you having the spirit, like, how do you think moving forward, how can they do that? What we need to do or what they do?
It's been a battle with that. So the comeback organization that we're kind of getting together in DeSoto and Lancaster area is specifically to do just that. Everyone's been asking, when you gonna start your church? When's the church popping up? And the thing is, there is no church. There's an organization called the Comebacks. And what we're gonna do is literally come back to our hoods and serve our hoods the way we should have always served our hoods. And how that will look is, do you meet up on some Sundays? Sure. Great. Do you still pay tithes and offering out of the obligation as far as what you owe God to his storehouse? Yes. But these monies now are going to go back into that community. There should never be a church in the community able to bring in $50,000, $60,000, $70,000 and then that community still be poor. And what that shows you is that we're still not investing in our own communities. It tells you that here's a black church buying black things for a black church from a white person outside of their community, right? Our money's being spent everywhere else instead of in our development. We'll say, oh, you know what, God, then we're going to take our church and our grandmas then tied to this church for 50, 60, 70 years, and when they go build the expansion church, it ain't nowhere near the hood. So our hood money was good enough for you, but we weren't good enough for you to serve us. We weren't good enough for you to be there. So that's the change in this, is that we're approaching it differently. No more separation of church and state. I believe that, for me personally, I believe that was a ploy of the enemy. When you separate church and state, you're not allowing state regulations to still abide inside the church. Now, 501c3 is outside of most regulations, but when it comes down to it, we still need a structural order. But what happens in the black community? We'll take somebody who has no type of training whatsoever, they put a pastor before their name, and then they just supposed to go. Now they counseling people, they don't have no counseling training. Now they instructing people they've never instructed before. Now they preaching and building, and they have more money than they've ever had before in their life, and we're expecting them to be able to manage it for our people, but they've never been trained to manage it for our people. We're expecting people with no training to do something for us. How? How? We're not investing in ourselves, right? So when we start to invest in ourselves, it changes the game. So now, look, instead of it being such a church of, hey guys, let's go have this holy country club and let's meet up on Sundays. Nah, that's cool. We still need, it says literally in scripture, do not forsake the assembly. I will never forsake the assembly, but what I will forsake is sitting inside of a church every Sunday not doing anything but saying that that's my seat or that's my pew. It's time to get back into our communities, take our money back into our communities. I don't care if it's crackheads, I don't care if it's drug dealers. So what? Your little brother a drug dealer. You so holy now that you don't talk to your brother? Oh, you talk to him, right? So let's go talk to this drug dealer. Oh, okay, you too holy. Your crackhead cousin just came to the family reunion. You hugged them and took a picture. Let's go talk to these other crackheads. What's wrong with them? Nothing. They need somebody to love them just like your cousin needs somebody to love them. Why as black people we start shunning our own people? I don't know. But then you sit there and think, wait a second, it was designed that way. And that's when we have to sit there and realize that the separation of the black family began when they took the black man out of the family homes, right? So when you separate us from our images like you, I always image you. Because your daddy is one hard working man.
He probably working right
now. He probably working right now. You pass that man daddy, either he doing something in the yard out there or he going somewhere to go get some work. And he was working hard, you know? It was, when you look at it, and I look at my hood, there was only one black father when I grew up in my hood. One. Out of that whole time, when you looked in Breedertown, on Bennett Davis Street, where I grew up, 3 blocks back, 3 blocks this way, 3 blocks over, it was one father in the 90s. Out of all these baby kids running around, one married father, should I say, that's sitting there and he's trying to take care of it. Now you had some fathers that, I ain't saying marriage means you don't take care of your kids. What I'm saying, we didn't have an example of marriage. We didn't have an example of how to see a woman and a man argue and still love each other the next day. We didn't know nothing about that. All I knew was Mooney Ray and them had choppers.
It's all.
What you mean? Mooney Ray riding on Blaze. Bro, I'm trying to ride on Blaze, bro. How we get to Blaze? Doing what everybody else do. And then we go into that story, I mean, that go into the fact that I used to have some stuff in my backpack at NSU Elementary, holding stuff for my cousin. Take this backpack up there. My mama had to go down there. Where you getting all these new bikes and new shoes and all this from? Oh, cousin such buying that for me. How he getting all that? What you doing to get that? She run down there. I'm like, oh, I just keep stuff in my backpack. I had 2 keys in my backpack at the age of 9. Because that's all we knew. Nobody showed me nothing different but trying to, you know what I'm saying? And then they get angry with African American males for having an entrepreneurial spirit. We just put it in the wrong way. So you sitting there and you saying, I'm going to put you in the ghetto and design you to be in a poverty-stricken area. I'm going to take your jobs away. I'm not going to allow you to be educated. I'm not going to allow you to see what an actual family looks like in most areas. And then you know what? I'm going to only own businesses here, and they're going to be white-owned businesses in your hood, so you don't have any type of representation of your own people. But now you're going to be broke, so now you're going to live on the system that I told you I don't want you living on, the welfare system, getting checks. We're going to call you crazy, say your kids got ADD, ADHD, and everything else to put these medicines in them so we can make more money off of you. And so now I'm watching my mama struggle because she got 3, 4 kids here and there, you know what I'm saying? Or she might be trying to make a job, but she didn't get a chance to go to school. So how am I supposed to feed my mama? What I'm supposed to do? Go make $7 an hour? Back then it was actually $5.85 an hour. Or am I supposed to go do this when I see my homies and them riding Blaze and choppers and they mamas living good? So now with us and our generation with this knowledge, if we go back to the hood, which is one of the reasons why I stay in DeSoto. People ask me all the time, man, you can move anywhere. You're right, I can afford to live anywhere. I stay there because a dude walked up to my truck, 2017 Nissan Titan, fully loaded, all that good stuff. Walked up to my truck, how much work you had to sell to get this? At that moment, I knew I wasn't leaving DeSoto because they had no representation of knowing that a man can get something without having to be selling drugs, right? So now I started that mentor group. Nah, let's talk about this. Let me show you how I got to where I've gotten to. And I'm bringing in other black men to show them, and black women, we make money. JB owned a barbershop. Ronnie over here doing his music thing. He making bread. You work. You got your own camera business going on. You find and undiscovered artists that other people ain't even know was supposed to pop yet. You catching people 5 to 6 months before they hit the Billboard charts. Ain't nobody giving you your respect, by the way, for that yet.
Appreciate it.
But you finding these people before anybody. So then it goes back to support community. How can I not send you every music video I find on Facebook? And when I'm traveling around and God then giving me the gift to travel, oh man, who pop out here? Oh, such and such, they clap. Send it to you. You know what I'm saying? So that's literally, that's how it happened, man. That's how it happened.
So right now, like, all this stuff, man, like, if anybody wanted to work with you on that age job, I heard your story, how can I got a business plan, or I'm an investor, like, how can they get in contact with you?
The best way would probably just be my work email. That's JD at TTN Fleet Solutions. You know, God's blessed me there to have open reign, and I believe my gift is connectivity, you know, to offer an umbrella for people of some type of structure. And when they come to me with these different visions and dreams and ideas, let me help you structure that vision and the dreams. I'm not telling you I'm going to change your vision and dream, but I'm going to say, oh, this is your vision. This is what can tangibly happen. You know, right now, this is where you're at. Your credit score says this. This is all we can do right now. You know, right now you don't have the funds for all of it, but we can get you there. Let's, you know, work that process. Reach me at that email address. I do invest in small black businesses. You know, right now I do give out loans up to $5,000. I do have a financial planner that will have to approve all of those loans. So don't think you go hit me up and go to my email and all of a sudden the money just go come to you. There is a process that we do, but we do invest in that. We invest in black community outreaches. Anything you're doing back in Natchitoches or any city, if you want to have the comeback organization be represented in your city and you lead it, you let me know, and we'll come out there and bring it. We're looking for community leaders around the world, literally the world, but it's specifically in the United States, that are gonna represent their black people the way they need to be represented. Whatever I can do to help you, go to meetings, join me's, phone calls, conference calls, everything I have, every knowledge I have, I'll give to you.